Oh, we are so not done with the Horde. Hello and welcome to another episode of Stories from Grayskull Unscripted. And today we are doing part 2 of my overview of the EVIL HORDE classic style. So let's get started where we ended last time in the Filmation universe. So I'll be the first to say I'm not quite sure if these next two characters were Filmation characters first. Although this first one, Entrapta, I'm pretty sure was a toy first. Why do I say that? Well, basically, her whole gimmick was, her power was her hair. She would like move her hair around and they could entrap you. So basically, the Inhumans Medusa from Marvel. She did not come with a crossbow, unfortunately. So if you took a look at her, you wouldn't think that she was part of the Horde, but look closer and there you go, Hordak right in between her. Anyway, so aside from that, we got this character, Octavia. So I'm not sure if she was in the original toy line, but oops, sorry, I dropped that. But so she is a squid. I mean, her name says Octavia, but her tentacles kind of look more like squid tentacles. They are articulated, at least at the base, but unfortunately, where bendy rubber would have been perfect for this, Mattel chose not to use it, which is unfortunate because she is, well, okay, she can stand, but she is quite a challenge to put on your shelf. She comes with her own octopus or squid themed crossbow, which is cool. And she comes with 4 identical swords, 1 for each tentacle. And what's cool is they come with hooks. So you could actually just hook them on each tentacle, which is cool. I'll admit, that is cool. And I'm just happy that I did not lose any of these swords in storage. Like, I actually have all 4 of them. And so she is ready and armed for combat. So that is Octavia. And now she cannot stand. Oh, there she can stand. So Octavia. Next, we have a couple of new additions added in the 2000X cartoon. So first off is this stony dude called Calyx. Like I said in the previous video, the Horde was planned to be the big bad for the 3rd season of the Mike Young Productions reboot. But unfortunately, it never came to be. They were teased in an episode, a really cool episode about King Grayskull, and they tried to siege Castle Grayskull and stuff. So they introduced the Horde there. And this guy, I guess, was made to showcase how badass Hordak was. So he questioned Hordak, and Hordak basically killed him. But he made quite the impression that the fans said they wanted a Calyx figure. And so eventually, Mattel gave us a Calyx figure. He's not as bulky as he was in the cartoon because, well, I guess this is the classic style version where you basically reused parts. But yeah, he looks pretty cool. A stone warrior for the Horde. And, you know, he's made out of a stone, so you would think he could reconstitute himself. So maybe Calyx is still alive. And what's cool is, so aside from his stone-themed shield, he has his axe, his stone shield axe, which if you squint, no, actually no, he has his handle, right? So you could say this is not supposed to be, this is warped, sorry. But it's sort of like his stone, because it's got a handle, his stone version of a Horde crossbow. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Calyx. Another character they added, well, characters, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing they did not have the animation rights for Shadow Weaver. So instead they made this dude, the Horde Wraith. And he's not a single character. He was like a group of Hordak's wizards who tried to open a portal to the Spondos to suck King Grayskull and Castle Grayskull with it. So the Horde Wraith, which is pretty cool. It's very 2000X and admittedly a lot more visually interesting than Shadow Weaver. It would have been cool if they made him his own character, and at least I'd like to think he's his own Horde character if Shadow Weaver didn't exist. But yeah, the evil sorcerer, so the Horde Wraith. And then we have this guy. So I mentioned earlier that it seemed like the underlying theme of the original members of the Horde were universal monsters. So we got Grizzlor as the werewolf, we got Leech as the creature from the Black Lagoon, and Hordak as Dracula himself. And so this guy would be the Mummy. So this is Rat Trap, and while you would think that he's a new addition to the Horde, this guy was created by Super 7 after Mattel gave them the rights to produce to continue the classics line for a while. So this is Rat Trap. He's actually based off an early concept for a member of the Horde, I guess designed sometime around the 80s. Again, I'll post a picture here if I could find it. But yeah, he just never was released in plastic. And so Super 7 took that original concept and actually made him his own character, which is pretty cool. So he's got a nice scimitar, but his cool scarab-based crossbow. Going back to the whole Universal Monsters theme, we finally got our Horde mummy in Rat Trap. Pretty cool head sculpt too. I like that. And then we have another, so Super 7, they like going obscure, right? So they gave us this weirdo, Dial-a-Mug. So this guy, I believe, is a Filmation-only character. And he's some weird android thing. And obviously, he's a very unique sculpt. And his gimmick, Dial-a-Mug. So his face is composed of dials, and with it, actually just two, the eyes and the mouth. You can basically change the expression of the eyes and the mouth, right? To give him different mugs, right? So Dial-a-Mug. Honestly, I don't even remember this guy in the cartoon, but he looks cool, right? He just adds more variety to the shelf. And I mean, they really put a lot into the sculpt and the design, which is cool with all these diodes and stuff. So obviously a member of the Horde, right? So Dial-a-Mug or Dial-a-Mug. But we're not done with the weirdos, because then we have this guy. Ugh. Will this guy still stand? This is Multibot. Oops. And this is Multibot. Basically, Modular Part 2. I don't know why the Horde wanted two versions of these guys, but basically it was a robot, where Modular is the insectoid, this guy is the robot. And I have him displayed this way as two individual beings. But again, he's just like Modular. Everything can be taken apart. Everything can be reassembled. In fact, you can mix and match pieces with Modular. They're both compatible to make some. I believe there's a fan version of these two monstrosities combined together. Multi-lock or something. Modubot. Who knows? But yeah, so this guy can't stand. But basically, he's Modular robot style. So I don't know the fiction behind him, but again, for those who like to mix and match and create their own stuff, you got Multibot and Modular. Now we go into expanded lore. Towards the end of the Classics run, they also wanted to create new characters done by special designers. And so obviously the Four Horsemen, for all the work they did into 2000X line and the Classics line, they got their own character, Drago Man. And unfortunately, that's all they got. I think they got Jeff Johns, the DC writer who's popular for revitalizing Green Lantern. He's a huge MOTU fan, apparently. And so he made his own character, Sir Light-a-Lot, Laser-Lot. It's a cool knight design. Maybe he would have been done better with a better name. But yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't get any other outside designers to create characters for free. So they had to go inside. So Scott Knightlick, Toy Guru, the brand manager of Classics, came up with this dude, which it was his creation. And people give him a lot of slack for being a narcissist and whatever, but I mean, the guy did a whole lot of work for the Classics, and without him we wouldn't have the Classics, so I'll give him this. And another designer in the group, Mattel Group, Terry Higuchi, came up with, it's a long introduction for this dude, Psychop. And so basically, aside from his cool, obviously, his unique head sculpt and his cool scissor chopping accessories, okay, he was basically a Frankenstein creation. Like, this is Roboto's chest, and then I don't know, I think these are uniquely sculpted arms, because these things are removable. I don't know if the original toy came with actual arms or hands. I'll have to, let's see if I'll. But yeah, these were removable, so yeah, I'm guessing he came with replacement hands. And these are Beastman legs. Quite the Frankenstein figure. And sorry, I forgot to mention. So yeah, his chest is Roboto's chest, but he doesn't have the innards, the gears. What he does have is some gross. Ugh. Well, this is a crack? Apparently he's got a crack. Apparently it's an issue with this plastic, but he's got guts, actual guts. So yeah, so apparently the fiction behind this guy is pretty cool. He is the former partner of Cronus, who would become Trapjaw. And so he was also retrofitted. He was injured, gravely injured, and retrofitted with cybernetics, and he was hired by the Horde. So I could be wrong, but I think, well, this belt is removable, and he came with a separate belt, I think, without the Horde logo, so take it as you will. Being a partner of Trapjaw, you could put Trapjaw stuff in here as well. Side Chop, a weirdo, but I mean, what's the Horde without any weirdos? And then, this is where the lore deepens. So like, Hordak was supposed to be the big bad, right? He was supposed to be the man behind Skeletor, but apparently he's not the biggest bad, right? So apparently, we've got Horde Prime. This was something that was hinted at in a lot of the early fiction, that as big as a bad as Hordak was, he wasn't the leader of the Horde, and he served Horde Prime. Supposedly the big bad, the guy that Hordak serves. And as such, so this helmet is removable, and he actually comes with, well, he looks like Hordak, but I believe this was based on the redesign of Hordak in the 2000X series. So, but now this is the mug of Horde Prime, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's an more evil looking version of Hordak's head, but it's a lot better than the extra head that he came with. I'll put it here because mine is in storage. And this head was supposedly how he was depicted in the comics, not very intimidating. So it's a good thing they went with this guy. So this is Horde Prime. We're almost done. This next figure, so everyone knows the fiction of She-Ra. So she was the long-lost twin sister of Adam, who was kidnapped as a baby and raised by Hordak as his, force commanders. And eventually she saw the light. And when this story was told in the Filmation cartoons, she was basically Adora, right? Which kind of looked weird. Like, I mean, Adora dressed up the way she was as part of the Horde. So it just made sense that that was not what Adora looked like when she served the Horde. And as such, the concept of Despara was created. So this is basically Adora raised as the Force Commander of the Horde. And it makes sense that she would not look like Adora did in the cartoons in her palace attire, but Horde-themed costume. And so this is the alternate head. Sorry, I put sticky tack in there so she could hold it, but it's supposed to look like her father, her adopted father, Hordak. And I just put sticky tack there so she could effectively hold it without, because I don't know, on display I preferred her Adora looking face with the short hair and the battle makeup. Yeah, so she comes with a staff and dual wielding swords. She wasn't Adora as a member of the Horde, but she was She wasn't Adora as a member of the Horde, but instead she was Despara. I don't even think that snapped on. So much for effect. Man, these things are, there you go. She was Despara, right? And that looks a lot more fitting for a Force Commander of the Horde. But yeah, so we're not quite done yet. So apparently, Skeletor's boss was Hordak, and Hordak's boss was Horde Prime. But guess what? Apparently, in the fiction, Horde Prime had a boss. And his boss went unnamed. He was the unnamed one. And supposedly, he was the father. Ah, man. I just realized. He was the father of Horde Prime. And you would think he would look like the Horde, right? But apparently, this is the unnamed one. And I just realized, yes, the classics made such a big hubbub about the unnamed one and when he would be revealed. And apparently, this is what we got. Evil Orko. Okay, to be fair, in the fiction of the classics, the Trollans, apparently, the race of magic users where Orko comes from, were actually the most powerful beings in the galaxy. I mean, yes, they looked small and stuff, but yeah, sort of like, I don't know, they're called the Guardians, the bosses of the Green Lantern Corps. So they were all diminutive little dudes, but super powerful. So I guess the Trollans were kind of like that. And to be fair, Orko, his story is supposedly, he is a powerful magician, but when he was moved to Eternia, the magnetic fields or whatever, basically, I don't know what, kind of like messed up with his power, so that's why he's like a bumbling idiot. So this guy's the unnamed one. So like I said, in the classics fiction, these guys, the Trollans, are the most powerful beings, or one of the most powerful beings. In fact, the Power Sword, I've got a video on that, on the fiction of He-Man and how it was done in the classics. So these guys, it started with the Trollans, right? They created the Power Sword and whatnot. So you can check it out. But yeah, and so I guess this guy is the rogue wizard. And so he is apparently the father. I could be wrong, but apparently he's supposed to be the father of Horde Prime. And he's the big bad of the Snake Men. He started the Snake Men. So I guess there's that connection between the Horde and the Snake Men. And apparently, so he comes with a flight stand because, obviously he's supposed to float. But I just found out that the freaking ball joint just broke. So again, I guess some super glue will have to do. But yeah, so he's supposed to float. Will he balance? He won't balance. But anyway, so this is where we end with Evil Orko. And that would basically cover all the members of the Horde that at least classics got around to. The Spara over here, and everyone else. Side chop. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode of Unscripted. Bye.